Hey everybody, and welcome to Technology. This is going to be a fantastic year. I'm very excited. I'm happy that you're going to be participating. I look forward to having you be part of this experience. I think it's going to be extremely rewarding for you. There's going to be some moments where it's going to be scary, and then you're going to realize, what? I can't believe I did this really cool thing, because throughout this whole process, I'm going to make sure to take care of you, make sure that you have all the resources and support that you need. My goal is for you to have a extremely successful year in some things that you may have never heard of before, never tried before, never even thought were possible, or if you have thought of these things or tried these before, you're taking it to that next level. So that's my personal goal, to be able to work with you. My name is Tommy Breckheisen. I do go by Tommy, a little bit more fun that way, and I look forward to this process with you. You're going to see in the Discord that I have a new ideas link here, and I'll probably send this as an announcement that'll route you to this. What I'd like you to do before we meet next Friday, hopefully before maybe next Tuesday if possible, is to create answer these questions in a thread. So what you're going to do is you're going to create and post 3 possible projects that you can do this semester in this class. You're going to be answering these things about the prototype that you're going to make, the components that you're going to use, and why it's going to be useful in your industry. Now, this could sound very intimidating if you've never done anything like this before. So I'm going to kind of walk you through just a little bit of what it is, and hopefully it'll alleviate some of that stress or concern if you have any. The first thing is I'm going to be purchasing this kit here for everybody on the team, and I should have it by the time we meet next week, assuming that the funds have hit my account and I can pull from it at the university. What you're looking at here, if you've never seen this before, if this is like, what is this? It's an Arduino development kit. This is a really good starter, how to use electronics, how to start having a computer talk to different components kind of a kit. The brain and the main part of this whole project is this one component right here. This is the Arduino board. It's got a processor on there, microcontroller, it's got a clock, it's got all kinds of different things that you can work with it. On the top row here and the bottom row here, it's got these different pins that you can work with, and you can connect it to all kinds of components. The size of this guy is about the size of a credit card. Here's one right here that I have on my desk. It's lightweight. It has a very minimal code in there, basically blinking a little light that's on here. You can erase that, and then you can code this to do just about anything that you want, assuming you have the components and everything's working. So what components does this work with? Well, in this kit, you're going to have all these components that are kind of surrounding it. This part here that looks like a bunch of holes inside of a piece of plastic is called a breadboard. That's going to help us stick everything together. You're going to get LED lights. You're going to get sensors. You're going to get other power devices, controllers, motors, power over here, more microcontrollers, a potentiometer, another display, more motors, jumper cables, a controller, and just everything that you're going to need to make sure you're routing power correctly and not damaging components. It's perfectly safe. It's really easy. You can give this to like a first grade, second grade student, and they can start working with things. So if it's new, it's intimidating, but trust me, you're going to be okay as we kind of move forward. There are so many components that you can purchase for one of these systems. This is just a random site that I found that's listing a bunch of other ones, but there are hundreds, if not thousands more that you can work with. Things that I have bought recently, I mean, just like the other day, from the time of this recording, is these are microphones to work with the project that I'm working with. A display that's a lot larger than some of the smaller ones so that you can actually have a touch display. Buttons, random buttons and colors of buttons. This right here is actually a camera. If I click on it, you'll see here that this little part right there, that's a lens, that's a camera, so we can create camera systems to work with. Here are switches. Sometimes when you buy components for this, you're going to get hundreds of things, and it's not expensive. You can get 100 little mini switches for $8. That's crazy. Even those cameras, right? All 4 of these are $30. That's less than $10 a camera. 100 or 24 buttons for $8. This touchscreen is kind of an impressive touchscreen, but it's $25. So if I was building a project with all of these things, I can prototype something really cool for under, I could probably make my own camera out of this whole thing right here, just what I just showed you, these random pieces, for less than $100. And that is great for prototyping and being able to solve the things that we need to do. If you're still like, okay, that's great, I know these things exist now, I know that that's out there, but I've never thought of this before, that's kind of a crazy idea, just go into YouTube and type in Arduino ideas. You're going to find here that there are hundreds of people out there that are doing similar projects, and they're coming up with really great and cool, interesting things, and it's not that difficult to do. So, find like the 13 great projects for beginners. Things like that, and you'll start to see that it'll start to open up those things for you. This one here for I just like the thumbnail because it's got this glasses with this little display on there, and I'm like, I want to learn and see what they did to create this kind of heads-up display on glasses. So I'm going to watch this one a little bit later. That's kind of cool. So then, you might be at a point where you're like, great, Tommy, you've got this Discord. You're asking us to do all these questions right here. I know these things exist. I've seen some examples. I'm pretty inspired. How do I know what's in my industry? I'm a student. This is great if someone's been in the industry 5, 10, 15, 80 years to sit there and say, I have the experience to know what the problem is. And that's why I've given you this ChatGPT prompt at the bottom. Basically, it just says, I need to come up with a project for a prototyping class, blah, 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 and you can read all these things yourself. My area is, you're going to put your area, and then can you help me brainstorm some ideas? So I went ahead and did that as an example for you, and what I came up with is I put in here, my area is aviation engineering, which I don't think we have any students that are doing aviation engineering on our campus, so I wanted to do something that wasn't going to cross-pollinate with something that you'd actually do. And it gave me all of this information right here, okay? It really gave me a lot of really great stuff. Now, I'm using ChatGPT 5, but I'm also using, and I'm forcing it to use the thinking mode. If you're also using 5 and it's stuck on auto, sometimes it won't give you the best results because it's using the instant kind of way to answer things, but the thinking one will actually think for you and give you a lot better answer in my experience. And so here we've got like hot brake thermal tracker for ground crews, a runway taxi FOD scout. We've got a pedestrian vehicle incursion alarm, right, in case we don't want anybody to get run over. All these different things. The one that I liked was this Marshaller's Smart Wand. You see those people that are out there and they got the wands and they're going like this and saying like stop and move to the left, move to the right, right? They're just using signals that we've used since the Civil War. There was no planes then, but they were using symbols like that to like move troops around on a battlefield. So why not upgrade that? Why not start to integrate some technology into that, some sensing technology, some feedback, some color technology to know so that when we're in like low light environments, right, foggy environments, or we're in environments that are snow, where it's hard to kind of work in those environments, we can make a better product. And that might be a gap that somebody in aviation engineering would look at. So basically all I did is I copied this, and you might have something that looks different for you, just depending on how ChatGPT organized it, but it'll be something similar to this. And then I put that into another ChatGPT where it says, I'm creating a prototype project in aviation engineering. Here's the brief. Paste. This is just what I copied. And I said, can you tell me the components that I'll use for an Arduino setup? And can you write me some sample code that would make it work? And it did that. It says you're going to want to use an ESP32, you're going to want to use LiDAR, you're going to want to use this LED stripe, you're going to want to have haptic backup so you can actually feel when the plane gets closer, it starts to go, you actually feel it kind of vibrating in your hands. You'll need power, you'll need in and outs and user interfaces and how to build and all these other things, right? This stuff right here is probably going to be a little bit more like, ooh, I don't know what all this is. What is an ESP32, for example? But this is as far as I want you to go. You don't have to go any further. You're more than welcome to learn what these are on your own, but we will go over those and figure it out. That's what we have the year to do. We will have the year to actually create this. It will require code, but look at this. ChatGPT gave me the code of the whole thing. Now, when you do it for real, you're going to have a lot more information to feed it than just give me generic code. But this is here to let you know that you are not going to be alone in the coding world. I do not code. I can't color, not color, but I just saw the word color right here and I said that. I cannot troubleshoot code very well. I rely heavily on AI to help me out with that. And that's something that I want to pass on to you. We don't have to spend our whole life learning how to do these things into code. So going back to Discord, you'll see here that you need to come up with these answers for these questions. A possible prototype title. Once you research what it is, maybe give it a title. It can be a cool title. It can be a generic title. Your industry area, so that I know what you're doing. In this case, I'd put aviation engineering. What's the current industry problem, right? These these ground controllers have a hard time making sure that things are visible in low visibility conditions, and we can upgrade them. What's the project that we're trying to create? We're going to create smart wands that have these kind of components in them. How will this project solve the problem of the industry? Because it'll help us to communicate with the pilot a little bit more effectively. And what component and sensors will you use to create this prototype? Well, it listed out those things in the ChatGPT, and I'm just going to list those there. So here's an example that's a real one from me. So I am creating a prototype called Marker 1, and it's in the film production area. And what is the current industry problem? Well, filmmakers today are trying to save time on set. We have cameras that can record forever. We don't have to stop in between takes anymore because we're not buying physical film, so we're not trying to save money on that film. And what they're doing is they're just rolling one big long clip, but inside of it there are multiple takes. Oh, let's go back to the beginning, take 2, back to the beginning, take 3, take 17, take 36, whatever. But it's all in one big long clip. And editors are having a hard time knowing how to deal with that and fishing around for the right clip. So the Marker 1 is a device that can be used on set that someone can sit there and push a button when they say go back to 1, and it'll put a marker in the timeline of that clip. So when the editor opens it up, they're going to see exactly where those cuts or where those starts and stops would be to help them to be more efficient and get back onto a more traditional editing timeline. So I'm going to be using this with that device, and I'm going to be using buttons, microphone, and a time code generator. So what does this look like? The first round of our prototyping is going to look something like this. It is not something you would buy off of a shelf, but it allows us to practice and to make what we're making. It has buttons, it has lights, it has a microphone, it's got a microcontroller here. This is the ESP32. Like I said, you don't have to worry about it, but it's a little bit smaller than the traditional Arduino. So you can see them kind of side by side right there. It's a lot smaller. And it has more advanced functions like it can do Wi-Fi. And that's the reason why I'm using it. So this is where I currently am at so that I can test, make sure all the wiring and the coding and everything else works really, really well. And then the next step after this is to get all these components into some kind of a container, some kind of a box where we can actually put the buttons on and then we can test it. And that's the prototype. It's not the thing that we're going to sell on the shelves. Sometimes it looks crude, sometimes it doesn't look that great, but we're going to prototype it. So a lot of this is going to be helped through ChatGPT or your AI platform of choice. We're going to be working together, working on teams, troubleshooting it, making it work. Here's the goal. By the end of this year, my hope is that you will have just the most amazing experience, and you will set yourself apart from almost every other student that's in your major. Because you're not only going to graduate with good grades on a really great degree, okay, but you're going to graduate having seen gaps in your industry, created and innovated prototypes to overcome those gaps, And my personal goal for us is to get some of these patented. So if you can have a patented, innovative prototype by the time you graduate undergraduate school, you are going to be one of those people that are going to be like, wow, I can't believe that you've done all this stuff. So I hope that you're excited. I hope that you're ready. I hope that you feel like this is going to be a great experience. I also hope that you don't feel too nervous and scared. I absolutely have got your back. I wouldn't ask you to do all this if I didn't know that you were capable and you didn't have some kind of support to be able to go through this process. Please reach out to me. You can email me if you'd like. You can also contact me here on Discord. I prefer email because it's just easier and it goes to the same spot. But I hope that you're ready for a really cool semester, and I look forward to reading your replies to this prompt here, and hopefully by Tuesday, but definitely before we meet on Friday. Okay, reach out if you have any questions, and I'll see you then. Thanks.